One of the big shockers in Star Wars The Last Jedi was the moment in which Snoke was killed off by his apprentice Kylo Ren. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, a lot of people, including myself, have been trying to figure out exactly how Snoke could fit into Star Wars Episode 9. Now, sure, they could use him in the form of flashbacks, as we have been hearing before in the past, from certain concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. But as far as bringing him back in the present, how exactly could they pull that off by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio? Now, I wanted to go into the resurrection of Supreme Leader Snoke and how he could very well have survived and is actually alive during the events of Episode 9 in a very twisty and surprising way that may sound outlandish to some of you guys out there. Whether you guys agree or disagree with this, that's perfectly fine and okay and all. But looking at Star Wars The Last Jedi, we do know that Snoke was split in two by the Skywalker lightsaber by the hands of Kylo Ren. He was able to use a power in which he twisted it and turned it on remotely, and that's when he killed Snoke. So, Episode 9, we've been hearing all these different things about Snoke and his involvement in this film. And a lot of people have been trying to think of an idea of how he could fit in the overall plot of the movie and make a real return. Now, the only thing that I could really think about is if you guys look at the very end of The Last Jedi, you do realize that both Kylo and Rey are still mentally connected, which could be a hint that Snoke is still alive. If we revert back to the Snoke throne room sequence in which Snoke is actually on his throne, he gets split into two. I always found it kind of funny how it goes out of focus and you don't really see too much of what's going on in the background as he falls down to the floor and is cut in half. Now, sure, that could be a way of hiding the gruesome part of Snoke being cut in half by Disney, or it could just be a way of focusing on Rey grabbing the lightsaber hilt, absolutely. But if they want to change things in Episode 9 in order to reflect it differently on The Last Jedi, they could always use that as an example by the blurriness in the background of Snoke being split into two, could perhaps point to the fact that maybe Snoke created a false reality within the throne room between both Kylo Ren and Rey. Now, that's the only thing that I could really think about when it comes to Snoke's powers coming into play, of how he could have survived in The Last Jedi and makes his return in Episode 9, is Snoke creating this false reality in the minds of both Kylo Ren and Rey. After all, we do know that he was the one responsible for the Force Bond sequences on Ahch-To for the character of Rey, seeing Kylo Ren more than twice, and all those different events that happened in the film. So, I believe that it's not too outlandish to say that he could have created a false reality in the throne room itself when he was there in front of Kylo Ren and Rey, and perhaps he really didn't die. Now, the other thing here that breaks this is that yes, Hux does in fact see the body of Supreme Leader Snoke dead on the floor, split in two. So could that actually interrupt with this idea of Snoke creating a false reality in Star Wars The Last Jedi that would hence have him come back in Episode 9? I honestly think it would be really cool. I know a lot of people are thinking that, you know, during the events of The Force Awakens, that maybe Snoke wasn't really Snoke in The Force Awakens and that hologram wasn't really him and he was somebody else, kind of like the Wizard of Oz situation. They could still pull that off to a certain extent if they really wanted to, where the Snoke that we saw in The Last Jedi perhaps wasn't the true Snoke per se, and was a false reality in the minds of Kylo Ren and Rey, where Kylo thinks he killed Snoke, and Rey witnesses this, but she thinks she witnessed it, but she didn't really. Now, I don't know about you guys, but how does that sound to you? Does that sound crazy and just ridiculous, or does it make sense to a certain extent, where Snoke can actually use his powers on the minds of two individuals to make them think that he actually got killed off and actually faked his death in reality? That, to me, would be quite the twist in the sequel trilogy, and would really change The Last Jedi significantly when it comes to the third act of the film, where most of it could very well have been a false reality. I don't know how you guys would react to that if that actually came into fruition, but I would love to hear your comments below in the comments section. As for me, I have to say, Snoke, for a character, really grew on me in the sequel trilogy, and that's why I think a lot of fans out there, including myself, were kind of let down when they killed him off so fast. fast in his physical form. That's the reason here, is that the physical version of Snoke, we didn't really get him too much in the sequel trilogy. Now, yes, granted, in the originals, we didn't get all that much of Emperor Palpatine in the flesh either. You know, it was kind of the same exact pattern, where in The Empire Strikes Back, he was a hologram, and in Return of the Jedi, he was physical. Same thing with Snoke. You know, in The Force Awakens, hologram, Last Jedi, physical. So what's to come in, of course, Episode 9 for Snoke? We have no clue. Could be flashbacks, could be visions, as we have heard before in the past. But I believe doing something twisty and just way outlandish for the character of Snoke could surprise a lot of fans out there. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.